Once you get them to attribute.
Hey Austin, how are you? It's nice to see you.
You too, in person.
Yeah.
It is? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
So,
This is Cody.
well, he said, yeah, that's a great place. Have you been there?
Nope. One day big one, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. It was nice when your computer tells you updated the software after the fact.
I had that during a planning commission meeting one time. I loaded up a PowerPoint, 32-minute update. I'll never forget that. It's like right in the middle of a presentation. It's always there when you need it, right?
Yep. And I don't know, Apple's got this new program too, and I must be getting old because now I'm looking at it going, this looks weird, and the
That
weird
new
icon.
update is totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just
It's like new people come in and just want to put their signature on it, and it's not functional. It just looks good.
It fills up all the space. It's good machine.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Gilman, you good? You guys both good?
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, you said we are recording?
We are recording on YouTube.
Okay, are we good to go?
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, 10 a.m. sharp. There's a quorum present. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. On to number 2 on today's agenda is to convene as the Story County Board of County Commissioners, bringing us to item number 3, which is a Pledge of Allegiance. If you can all stand and join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, on to item number 4 is public comment. Public comment is welcomed at the beginning and end of each meeting. These comments should be limited to matters not on today's calendar agenda. Public comment is again welcomed after each item on the agenda, and those comments should be limited to the agendized topic. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per individual. With that said, is there any public comment in the courtroom today? All right, not seeing any, we're going to move right along to item number 5, which is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the agenda for the January 2026 meeting. County Manager Osborne, are there any changes to the agenda today?
No, we have nothing, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments about the items on the agenda?
None, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, how about public comment? Is there any public comment about any agenda items today? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve today's agenda as presented. Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 6, which is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the minutes from the December 2nd, 2025 meeting. Commissioner Gilman, any questions or comments on those minutes?
None, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
Just one minor correction I noticed. Item 24 was when Will Adler was talking about the special session. It said that the special session was December, and it was actually November.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you for that. Is there any public comment regarding the minutes from December 2nd? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes from our December 2nd, 2025 meeting with the one noted correction. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 7, which is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the minutes from the December 16th, 2025 meeting. Commissioner Gilman, questions or comments on those?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the minutes from our December 16th, 2025 meeting as presented. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 8, which is today's consent agenda. Commissioner Gilman, any questions or comments about the consent agenda?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, thanks.
All right, how about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I move to approve today's consent agenda as presented. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 9. This is discussion for possible action. Discussion and possible consideration, resolution number 26-814, honoring Grady Armstrong, who was selected to represent his community and Nevada in the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree lighting. Lisa.
Hello, Lisa Missel for the record. Today we'd like to present a resolution to honor Grady Armstrong for being selected to present his speech at the U.S. Capitol for the Christmas tree lighting. And we are welcomed here by his family today. We have Brent Armstrong, his father, Rihanna Armstrong, his mother, and his 2 sisters, Hadley and Paisley, as well.
And Grandma.
Oh. And Grandma, I didn't have her on the list. And so I would like to read the resolution if there's no additional questions.
Please.
Okay, resolution number 26-814, a resolution honoring Grady Armstrong, who was selected to represent Story County and Virginia City at the United States Capitol Christmas tree lighting. Whereas this holiday season is a time of unity, joy, and celebration across our nation, and whereas the annual lighting of the United States Capitol Christmas tree is a cherished tradition that symbolizes hope and togetherness for all Americans, and whereas Grady Armstrong is a distinguished fourth grade student from Hugh Gallagher Elementary School in Virginia City, Nevada, who was selected to represent his community and the state of Nevada by lighting the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree in Washington, D.C., and whereas this honor reflects Grady's exemplary character, his spirit of leadership, and the pride of his hometown and state, and whereas the people of Nevada and this commission recognize the significance of this moment as a testament to the values of family, community, environmental stewardship, importance of public lands, and the promise of future generations. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the commission hereby commends and congratulates Grady Armstrong for his outstanding achievement and commitment to our community and nation, in witness whereof this proclamation is issued on this day with gratitude and pride for Grady's role in this historic occasion, adopted this 20th day of January 2026, Board of County Commissioners of Story County, by J. Carmona, Chairman, and attested by Jim Hendel, Story County Clerk and Treasurer. And we would like to have you come up so we can present you with the plaque and take a picture with your family and the commissioners as well. Come on up.
Congratulations. Will you come and take a photo?
Can you all come up so we can get your photo?
Grady, do you want to maybe just take the opportunity? He wants to give something to the commissioners if he may.
Absolutely.
Grady, if you want to go over there, there's a microphone, and that'll help everyone hear what you're going to say. Thank you so much. I know it's kind of tall.
Go for it.
And so, Mr. Chair and fellow commissioners, I wanted to give you something which is to me very special, to thank you over all the support of the journey throughout the state and the lighting and everything. And it's one of my challenge coins that we made. And so on the front, if you could see this, I don't know if you can, but right there is our brand, which is like the 5/A, and then Nevada with the tree where we live, and then the tree turned it, and then Silverbell turned it into a quill since I wrote the essay. And on the back, on the top, it says family, service, and adventure. That's family, that's service, and that's adventure. I don't know if I'm pointing at it right, but
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you, Grady. Thank you very much, Grady.
Thank you.
Awesome.
How are you guys doing?
Hey, can you close the door behind you? Can you do it again?
No control.
Cheese. Look good. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
Just one or two, and I just want to say, Grady, I'm excited that we have such an effective ambassador for our community. It means a lot, and to be able to communicate your thoughts clearly and in a compelling way, it's a really valuable skill, and I hope you'll continue to develop that as you grow up.
Indeed. I was going to say the same thing. To see somebody from fourth grade stand up there, talk to a bunch of people with the confidence you did is admirable. And thank you for our gift. So that's all I've got. Is there any public comment today?
Good morning, Commissioners. Todd Tuttle, Director of Tourism. May I also praise Grady Armstrong for his involvement as a tourism ambassador. When I went out to be able to see the lighting, I also had a chance to visit the Capitol building, and it was enamored with the people that really loved what Grady did and his presentation with it. So not only did he make an impression across the nation televised, but he made an impression on the people that actually were in Washington, D.C. He went on to be able to speak at the Governor's Conference on tourism, to made a wonderful presentation, and it once again won the hearts of most of those people that are involved in tourism in the state of Nevada, and then followed up with a trip down to NFR Rodeo. So great experience down in Las Vegas for him. So not only did he represent our county well, our elementary school here in Virginia City well, but the people of Nevada also has a great ambassador, and I just want to make sure that that's on the record.
Thank you very much for that talk. Is there any other public comment? All right, not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-814, honoring Grady Armstrong, who was selected to represent his community in Nevada in the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree lighting.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Again, congratulations to you and the family. All right, on item number 10, discussion only, no action, no public comment. These are committee and staff reports, and we're going to kick things off at the Sheriff's Office today.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sheriff didn't send me with any updates at this time.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much. How about the Fire Protection District?
Good morning, Bob Reiser, Fire Chief for the record. A couple of little things going on for us. We are drafting a land use agreement for the Highlands for all the cisterns, and we'll be sending that over to Brian's office for them to review before we have any signatures. But one of the things we recognize is that we're routinely on people's private property to access the cisterns, and we'd like to get that protected for them and for us. One of the other things are 3 cadets that have been in the academy for the last 16 weeks graduate this week. So they'll be coming online next week, which is exciting for us to add some more staffing, which will help us significantly out in the tri-park as well. And then the last piece for us is moving through the holiday season and getting our Christmas tree stuff done. They drop them off in the Highlands out here, and then also in Lockwood. So for those to get chipped and put in the pile and recycled to Mother Nature. Awesome. And a report.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. How about Public Works? Nothing? How about Projects Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Northen, Project Manager. TRI restroom remodel is going very smoothly. We're also replacing the fire alarm system throughout the TRI building to modernize it, address some of the work that's been done in the building, and to provide an open source system rather than a proprietary system. That work's underway. TRI Sheriff's Office substation. We do have a finalist for the design, just need to get to solicit a proposal from the selected firm and get that to the board for their consideration, and we can get that moving. Piper's Opera House, the front doors and windows. Chris has been out for a few days, so I'm working with the low bidder to get a contract for construction drafted, get it sent for legal review. The Piper's column in the entry lobby there. This project is now complete. The area of the work has been inspected, closed up, and so that's finished up. And last item is the B Street Rockery wall repair. This is the old stone wall behind the Red Dog Saloon. We'll be opening bids tomorrow, and we should have that ready for board consideration by the next meeting. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Commissioner Gilman, any questions or comments for Mike?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Good, thanks.
All right, appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Moving right along to our Business Development Director.
Thank you, Laura Mather, for the record. During the October 21st meeting of 2025, this board gave me direction to proceed with finding and reducing certain fees in certain county ordinances. So I wanted to give you an update on where we are at through that process. So as you know, we've completed the dog licensing code. The edits to the chapter on cannabis has been reviewed by the DA's office. I hope to have that to you at the next commissioners meeting. The chapters on business licensing, sale of alcohol, and special events, our project team is continuing to work on that, so that's myself. Planning, the Sheriff's Office, Community Development, and the VCTC. It's been a great way for us to go through those chapters. We've been finding things that need to be clarified, pulled out, added in, so we're making great progress on that. And just as a reminder, those codes will need a business impact statement. So anything that affects businesses, even if it's in a positive way, is going to need an impact statement. So it'll be a little bit longer process. But I wanted to give you an update. They were working on those and really making progress, and should have them to you shortly. That's the end of my report.
Great, thank you for that update. Commissioner Gilman?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. How about our grants manager? All right. Our admin officer?
Morning again, Lisa Massell for the record. I just wanted to provide a quick update on the corner bar resolution. We have that pretty much finalized. It should be on the agenda on February 3rd, which will go out publicly, be open for bidding at that point in time, published in the paper, and then bids should be accepted by March 3rd is what we're anticipating. Any questions?
Great, thank you, Lisa. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Lisa?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. How about emergency management?
Good morning, Adam Wilson, Director of Emergency Management for the record. Reminder, tomorrow night, Wednesday, at 5:30 in Lockwood, we'll have our flood exercise evacuation town hall, where we'll recap the exercise and go through our after-action report. Thursday, the 22nd of this week at 5 p.m. here in Pipers, we're going to have the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. The contractor will be coming in and doing the public meeting portion of that plan. Again, that one will be at 5 on Thursday, and the Lockwood Town Hall will be at 5:30. For the next 5 Fridays, myself, Fire, and SO are going to be participating in tabletop exercises that I've created for our school district staff. So we're going to start with just the public safety aspect, and we're going to do one for the next 5 Fridays at each school location to get the staff all on the same page for that. Our SERC, which is our hazardous materials compliance, has been submitted to the state on time, and we foresee no issues with the compliance on that this year either. Second week in February, I'll be speaking at the State Emergency Management Conference in Vegas. And this year I get one of the key slots. Typically we get the breakout sessions, so very excited and nervous for that. And then an update on our mobile emergency operations center with tariffs and shipping and all of that. Some of the pieces were on back order. They've all been received by the manufacturer now, and they're in the final build out. So we're hoping to have that soon. Just a reminder, that was a $40,000 project to get that trailer built. That is significantly cheaper. A lot of our partnering EM agencies are looking at them, and theirs are all coming in the high 6 figures. So we've saved the county quite a bit of money by having this build done, and our trailer will be a little bit more industrial and heavy duty to be able to support some of our more rural districts that we have. And we're also looking at our upfitting costs to get it finished inside with like the dispatch consoles and tech, and that's actually coming in a lot cheaper than we anticipated. And the build came in under budget, so it's actually coming in under 40,000, and we're looking at less than 10 to upfit the trailer, and a portion of that will come out of the initial construction costs. And that is all I have.
Great, good update, Adam, thank you. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Adam?
None, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
Thanks.
All right. Good news. Thanks again, man. About the Virginia City Tourism Commission.
Good morning once again, Commissioners. Todd Tuttle, Director of Tourism. Just a quick report on American Bus Association. They had their national convention in Reno over the past weekend, weekend previous, and they had 2,700 delegates come in from all over the United States and across the world. We were very well represented at that particular event. We had 2 FAM trips that would come up to Virginia City specifically, both in 55-passenger motor coaches, of which the report back was that they were highly impressed with what was offered here on a tourism level and the ability to have some great meals, to be able to attract those larger bus groups, to be able to stay in some of the accommodations that we had. So we filled in a lot of gaps for these people to understand what Virginia City is all about and how to get here. Coming up on our schedule is February 14th, the Devil Made Me Do It Saloon Crawl. It kicks off our events as usual. Turnout and response for that is going quite well. On March 14th will be the Rocky Mountain Oyster Fry. I know everybody's excited about that and ready to come out to try some true delicatessens here in Virginia City. It will start at 10 o'clock and tickets will be available online now, so you're able to pick those up as soon as you'd like. At 12 o'clock will be the St. Patrick's Day Parade coming down C Street. We will begin up at the Sheriff's Department and come down through town itself, finishing below Sutton. And also the St. Patty Made Me Do It Saloon Crawl will be that day. So as we start our event schedule, here we are, ready to start rolling forward. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks for the update, Todd. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Todd?
No, thank you, Todd.
All right, Vice Chairman?
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving right along to the Comptroller.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. I just want to let everybody know that our office is on track for the W-2s and 1099s to go out as scheduled. They'll be put in the mail, so everybody needs to watch for those. The department budgets, we're getting in full swing. Those are due in my office Monday the 26th. I wanted to tell the commissioners if you had any ideas, thoughts for the upcoming fiscal year to contact myself, County Manager Osborne, make sure we can work with you and get those things into the budget. We'll be having the CIP for fiscal year 27 come before you in a meeting in March so we can get that approved and all into the budget. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Jennifer. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
No questions. I'll submit my list.
Okay, I'll wait for it.
Remember, they voted down helicopters, so.
I know.
Get over it.
It's still on there. One can hope.
Thanks, Jennifer. How about our planning department?
Nothing today.
Thank you, Kathy. Health and Community Services? Nothing today, thank you. All right. How about community development?
Good morning, Commissioners. Joseph Starnes for the record, Community Development. I'm going to share some highlights with you regarding our significant growth and milestones for the calendar year 2025. These milestones reflect the hard work and dedication of our team and our county and offer a clear glimpse into the promising future ahead. We are proud to be part of this momentum and are committed to continuing this progress as we grow, organize, and strengthen our department in the years to come. So before I get into that, I'll be brief with it, I promise. I mean, I can go on and on about it all day, but I'll be brief. But before I do that, congratulations to a couple of our members of our team, Dave Nair on earning his International Code Council Commercial Mechanical Inspector certification, and Adana Galindo for obtaining her International Code Council Permit Technician certificate. Both achievements represent professional development and require substantial study and preparation to pass these exams. So we're very proud of their accomplishments. So with the continued expansion that we all know about in the industrial park, inspections and permitting activity have increased dramatically. Growth is being driven by large-scale, obviously, data centers, advanced technologies, warehouses, and new industry, and a slow, steady rise in residential construction. Despite this acceleration, our staff has continued to meet the demands with adaptability, cross-support, and technical experience, like I just said, with those continued education and the continued certifications that we require to be able to inspect these buildings. So I'll jump right into, I can provide any of this information via email, or if anybody ever wants any more in-depth or details on this, but I'll be a brief summary for you guys. Permitting. We permitted, community development permitted 45 million square feet in 2025. Now previously, last year, 2024, we permitted 30 million. So that just, we had a 15 million growth this year. I'll just jump straight ahead to the interesting stuff. Nuisances abated, code enforcement, I want to touch on that real quick. And from 2024 to 2025, we had a 73.9% increase on abating nuisances. And I want to touch on that, and that's because we now have a code enforcement officer, full-time code enforcement officer, and that was huge. And I thank the county for helping us achieve that goal. And I also want to, express that we're not, we look for solutions. We're not, we don't put up roadblocks. We try to be helpful to our residents. We're not like, we're not getting these abatements because we're crazy and demanding. We're trying to work with people and help them. Just want to express that. And then as far as the other overall takeaways that we have, inspection volume. Now, in the past 3 years, we've increased by 152% in inspection volume alone. I can get you numbers if you want. In plan reviews, we've increased 237% in the last 3 years. In permit fee revenue, we've increased 185%, driven by the large-scale industrial projects out in the industrial park over the last 3 years. And business activity, we've had tons of growth with business license issuance. And, like I said, I can't commend our staff enough for absorbing this growth through our adaptability and, multiple role changes in our office, and we wear different hats, and we cross-support, and, the workload is intense, and the technical demands are rising quite quickly, but we're game, and look forward to the future. So thank you. Any questions?
Great update, Joe. Commissioner Gilman, questions, comments?
No questions, just amazing numbers, and congratulations. It's just, that's a lot going on all over the county, and just proud to be a part of it and proud to be working with you.
Thank you.
Agreed. Vice Chairman?
Just one question, Joe. Is when you talk about the total number of square footage permitted, is there duplication there? Are we multiple permits on the same square footage in some cases?
Very good question, and you are correct. Let me just give you a little blurb summary on that. To explain some of these, I came prepared just in case. To explain some of these square footages, in some cases, the core and shell may be permitted in 1 year, with interior fit-outs permitted in a subsequent year, or in the same year, which would be double.
Got it.
So let's say you have a 1 million square foot core and shell, you have a 1 million square foot interior fit out, that would be the 2 million.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, if you're able to throw it together in some kind of a dashboard or something and send out, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, more work for you, man.
Yeah.
I have it. I can doctor this up.
Make it pretty, please.
Yeah.
Take lots of time.
I have some personnel to help me with that.
Graphics and, no, I'm just kidding.
No, great update, Joe. Congrats to you and your team, man. It's definitely a lot of stuff going on out there, so appreciate the update.
Thank you. It's definitely a team effort with all of Story County, as the other departments well know.
Absolutely. Our PIO, is she here?
She's not.
Okay. Lee, did you have anything for us today?
Nothing today, thank you.
All right. How about the assessor's office?
Nothing today, thank you.
All right. How about our DA's office?
No update today.
Okay. County manager?
Good morning, Commissioners. Austin Osborne for the record. Just want to give you a couple small updates. Commissioner Mitchell and I are planning on going to the legislature this Friday and giving an update to the legislative committee the TRPA and Marlette Water Oversight Committee. I'm sure I left a word or two out of that. But we're just going to give a little brief update about our 2023 Water Master Plan and where we are projecting future into the Virginia City, Gold Hill, and Silver City part of the system, with just a discussion very briefly about our master plan with regard to housing and residential development that may play into the system, particularly in the American Flat area. That is just a footnote at this point, but we are going to talk a little bit about that. We're kind of excited about questions that might come of that plan. The next thing, you know, when our department heads come up here and talk about what they do, it's like 2% of what they really do. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And I just want to make a point of one example of that. Laura, in working with our team, community development, and fiscal officer, and all of us on the zip code update out of Tri-Center, they have really been working with all those companies individually to try to get them off of the Sparks 89434 zip and onto the official 89437 McCarran name. And I'm being told that, roughly speaking, that they're approaching the 90% compliance mark on that. There's a couple companies out there that we're working with there's some challenges in doing that. There's a lot of systems they need to change, but they're cooperating as well. So I just want to really send a thanks to our team in that. This is something we've been working on for a decade or longer, and we're getting to that high level point. So that's it. That's what I have on my update.
All right, appreciate the update, Austin. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Austin?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Do we have any news on traffic signals?
I do. Thank you very much. And I see with NDOT presenting today, hopefully they'll have a chance to speak about those. But the Waltham traffic signal is up and running and operational. Public Works is working with that adjacent property owner to put in the appurtenances in there that we had done under contract to provide for the traffic signals and also for the kind of the security of them. The Sydney signal has been up and running for quite some time, and then I know that work is being done with NDOT on the Denmark intersection. They can't get a signal in at this time, but they're preparing it for a future signal, getting some acceleration and deceleration lanes, getting that traffic intersection straightened out. Additionally, I'm being told by some companies out there that they're seeing notable improvements in the metering of traffic on I-80 at the USA Parkway interchange because of the signals. It's not perfect, it's not all over and good, but it's a lot better. And that there's some improvement at the Patrick interchange with either people using USA Parkway more because it's a little bit more orderly, and perhaps also because there's some metering of traffic on that interchange with the new traffic intersection that Public Works has put in at the intersection of Wild Horse. I understand that there's a couple other stop signs and additional speed limit signs that have been put along Waltham too, to allow the sheriff's office to be able to do a little bit better enforcement and have signage there appropriately to back them up when they do. So very good news, long way to go. I really look forward to Director Larkin and her presentation with NDOT, and we certainly may want to talk about this further.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the update.
All right, thanks for the update, Austin. How about the Clerk Treasurer's Office?
Thank you, Commissioners. Jim Hindle, Clerk and Treasurer. Just want to continue to update you, number one, on DMV activity. Through the month of December, we continued a very strong activity of vehicle registrations and titling with over 200. I think we were somewhere around 235, which is, again, for our 16 days that we are open in the month, and we were actually opened less in December. Good volume that's coming through, and it continues to be one of the major activities that we have on a day-to-day within the office. The other major update is that we just closed judicial filing as of last Friday at 5 p.m. We did have 2 candidates file for the Justice of the Peace of the Virginia Township Justice Court. With that closing, we now will not have candidate filing for the non-judicial or the rest of the offices that will be up for election in Story County until the first 2 weeks of March. That's March 2nd through the 13th will be the non-judicial filing period. Before then, and actually it has been going on for a while, we've been focused, Mark Allen, the Deputy for Elections, has been very focused on voter registration cleanup. We have moved in the last several months, we have moved over 300 of our registered voters from active to inactive, and this was all done through contact follow-up to make sure that voters that had not voted in the last two federal elections, presidential elections, were contacted to see if they were still residents of the county. The most significant reason for doing this is because when you move from an active to an inactive basis, it does not cancel your registration. If you show up in person, you are able to vote at any of our polling centers in the county, but you will not receive a mailed ballot. So it is reducing the number of mail ballots that we have going out, number one, because that's a source of potential fraud, and number two, because that's a cost to the county to do that. We will continue to manage this up until the closeout date, the 90-day blackout, where we cannot make any voter registration changes other than those requested by voters, and that is in the middle of March. We are working with the Secretary of State to understand how many of those 300 plus that have not voted in the last two elections we can cancel. There is some question on that because of issues with the legacy system that we had in the documentation of voter contact to the new system that we have, the VREM system, and the Secretary of State is supposed to be giving us direction on that, and we do expect to have a significant number of cancellations. Again, what that does is it just cleans up our rolls for those people who no longer are residents of Story County, and we do that through verification both by contact and by responses from voters if indeed they respond back to us. So that's the update there, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that.
Great update, Jim. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Jim?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, just thanks, Jim, for your efforts in keeping the rolls cleaned up.
Indeed, thank you. Is there anybody else in the courtroom that has an update that I did not call on? All right, thank you everybody for those wonderful updates. Always a lot of good news going on in Story County. Moving right along to item number 11 is board comment. No action, no public comment will be taken. Start off to my left. Commissioner Gilman, do you have anything for us today?
None, thank you.
All right, Vice Chairman?
I don't have any specific comments, thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, two folks passed away, both in Lockwood over the last couple weeks. If we could just have a moment of silence for Aaron McCall and Dave DeLong. Again, both Lockwood residents have some strong ties to the community, been there quite a bit. So a moment of silence for those two folks will be greatly appreciated. All right, thank you. Moving right along to item number 12 is discussion for possible action, presentation by the Nevada Department of Transportation regarding the county consultation process, NDOT annual work program within the county and the One Nevada process, and possible acceptance of the infrastructure work program presented. Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Tracy Larkin Thomas, and I'm the director for the Nevada Department of Transportation. And I want to start off this by saying thank you. Your team has been incredible to work with. We have a lot of challenges with USA Parkway and with I-80 and certainly the traffic and momentous growth that's happening out there. But in the last few years, and special thanks to Austin, but to the whole team, and I know we've met a few times to discuss issues. So thank you. It's been a good partnership, and I couldn't ask for better collaboration. So to start off, kind of just a little bit on the path, kind of just where we are. So again, we're going to go over rural county engagement, One Nevada plan, follow up to the 2024 county workshop, and I'm obviously going to be speeding right along here. Completed projects and the STIPs. So also today with me, I have Rebecca Capulo, the Assistant Director of Planning. I have Joe Harrington, our Communications Director. I have, is Alma here? All right, Alma Ramirez, she's the Assistant District Engineer. And then Peter Canizzola, Highway Maintenance Supervisor 2. You raise your hand? Thank you. Brent Slobe, Highway Maintenance Manager. Matt Bradbury, Highway Maintenance Manager. Kevin Veers, the Chief of Multimodal Program Development. And Zachary Shaw, Rural County Development. These are people you should be seeing on a regular basis, and I love to have our maintenance people here because they're really the face of and who's really doing the bulk of the work here for us. So, the rural engagement process. So basically, it's a continuing collaborative process. So we have gone to every other year. So there'll be a workshop this year. There was one in 2024. And then we come back, actually I'm saying there was a workshop last year, but we alternate. And then we come in and then do a formal report out to you on what was taken at the workshop and what the status of those are. So we are required to meet with the rural things, so I'm not going to put that as a thing, and we're required once every 5 years. So we greatly enhance that. And the other thing I want to say is we are in the midst of hiring a rural county communications liaison. And it's a special one that we're having just specifically to go out to our rural counties to meet with you on a more regular basis and make sure that the issues that you have are getting back to us. So along with the team the planning team that you're already working with, we wanted you to also have more direct communication if something comes up. Although I'm quite aware that you have my number, so. For the engagement process, basically just going through the cycle. It's ongoing, as we said. Step one is the county workshops, and that's for county staff, law enforcement, emergency services, and just talk about transportation investments, conditions, and kind of document requests so they can be evaluated and tracked and then revert. Step two is the analysis, where we bring the transportation needs back to headquarters, analyze and verify each request, and then place it into a short, mid, and long-term range as identified district tasks that can be done. Step three, that's where we are now. It's the formal report back out. And then step four is continued analysis, where it goes back into the process, we said the One Nevada process, where it is a data-driven one of looking around the state, and then repeat on the cycle. So on the One Nevada plan, it really helps us look at the current transportation needs. And a lot of it's also based on things such as the funding we have, the impact, the safety impact on there. So our basic ones, the criteria is preserve infrastructure, optimize mobility, transform economies, foster sustainability, and connect communities. And then again, we capture the community's needs. That was what 1, 2. And then a need is an issue or concern that's identified with the county. They're then evaluated. A concept is a proposed solution designed. A project is an engineered solution to the identified needs. During the last phase, the projects are designed, right-of-way acquired, and funding allocated. You guys are very familiar with that process, and you're also very familiar with the time it takes, depending on the project. And then we've covered what the process is, and now let's get more specific to Story County. The workshop at Story County was on July 17th, 2024, so we will be having another workshop this year. It was a successful workshop, and it had identified 4 needs. So you're not a very needy county. I will say, except for USA Parkway and I-80 has a huge impact. So you requested newer replacement signage for Virginia City on 341 and Gold Hill Road, 342. This was completed. Our district office took care of this. USA Parkway and Pittsburgh intersection. This was a right in and right out for new business and truck traffic. The permit for the property owners of Pittsburgh to improve the sight distance and install a right turn acceleration was approved and moving forward. 2 needs in progress. The county wanted to increase the speed through USA Parkway because 35-mile MPH is too low. I absolutely agree. I drive it all the time. However, there is a process. And travelers were being ticketed, and operations. We are doing a speed study, but we're doing a total operational study of USA Parkway, and that'll be done in conjunction. Obviously, it's a very critical north-south route. We've got phenomenal growth that has been I've been watching it over the years, start at the north and you're almost to your county line and starting over into Lyon County. So as we go up, I think it's very critical that we protect the access, manage the access, make sure there are appropriate signals, turn lanes, etc. along the way. And then a crosswalk in front of Gold Hill. I did come up a little bit earlier and stop and take another look at that. I apologize, it's taken a little while on there, but we should see some movement in the next couple of weeks. We are looking at not convinced that a crosswalk's the exact right part, but we can do some lighting and other things that can make it safer for pedestrians and make people more aware of pedestrians in the area. So on the district accomplishments, and this is, and I've got to get caught up here, is basically just to put out what our maintenance crews are always doing along the way. So they repaired 5 guardrail and sections on Virginia City Road, 341, and from 5 Mile up to the summit, Geiger Grade. Flood repair, clean and reshape ditches at Virginia City Road and USA Parkway. There's been some massive flood issues in the last couple of years. It's definitely taken its toll. Installed new flashing chains or snow tires required sign going southbound on Virginia City Road. Striped downtown Virginia City. That was completed in August of last year. And then the routine maintenance, sign replacement, potholes repair, fencing repairs. Also, we did, as you're aware, we'll probably talk a little bit more about it, it's not a full thing, but we did a major project on the north end of USA Parkway. It was a multi-million-dollar project just to give a kind of a base and kind of keep it together for a little bit longer can we do a more permanent repair. Also in the 2024 workshop, they permitted multiple access requests on right-of-way in USA Parkway, and then installed a no truck sign at Silver City intersection, job completed in 24, and a waterside sign at Loustown. Then completed projects, and here's a concerned, we worked on USA Parkway as demonstrated that pavement rehabilitation, which I was just referring to. It was, like I said, it was about $4 million from just I-80 down to Innovation Way. It is not a full repair, but it is a way to keep it together until we can do something more permanent. And then I also mentioned before, we're doing an operational study looking at the entire length of 439C. And again, working closely with the county, but I think it's really critical that we're both county and the state stay firm on the access control. That will keep it much better in the long run because you do have phenomenal growth coming out there. And then the county collaborations. So we did install, which Austin gave a pretty good update already, on the temporary traffic signals on January 6th. There at Waltham Way and USA Parkway, and that has greatly helped. And like I said, it's not a full solution, but it certainly helped the solution in the meantime. And then a request from we have additional speed limit signs between Sydney and Innovation to support enforcement methods. I have to admit, I was stopped by one of your officers, and he quizzed me for 20 minutes on the projects. Very pleasant guy. And then this is, obviously it's coming up. Construction will start in 2027. It was awarded to Granite. It is a progressive design build. It's the first of its kind in the state. Moving along, and the consultant with them is Atkin Realis. So that's the partnering team. We did just sign the pre-construction agreement, like within the last few weeks. So it is moving forward. You're going to see a lot more of the pre-construction activities over the next year, particularly as you're going to look at some more boring for the geotechnical assessment going along the way. Very excited for the job, but it's going to be a big impact. But we can't finish it if we don't start it. So very much looking forward to it. Like I said, its current estimate is in the $525 million range. We'll be watching it closely over the next couple of years. Obviously, we've seen inflation and stuff in the back, so we're being very cautious, but truly excited about the job. So I'm not sure what kind of thing we're going to do when we actually do a ribbon cutting, but if nothing else, I'm taking a bottle of champagne on the side of the road and celebrating. Won't drink it there. And then the next steps really is to continue collaboration. And then also I'll be coming back up when we have the rural liaison person to introduce her. She's starting in about 4 weeks, just kind of the transition period. But I like to make the introduction and then also again meet with you guys and get any input. And really what I like to do with some of the counties, not with some, all the counties, is really kind of get a feel for your vision. Now, it's been, USA Parkway, obviously there, but the growth that you're also showing in other areas as you go down to the Virginia Highlands and again continue on even if it's off system, what kind of impacts it has to the system and move on. So that concludes that. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Great, thank you so much. Very informative, Tracy. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
Just that this is such a large project to take on, especially I-80, and thank you so much for looking at this, taking it seriously, pushing it ahead. I'm glad to see the 2027 project start. Do you have idea of when a completion date would be on that if you started in 27?
It has to be completed by 2032. So that is the absolute last part because that is part of the grant. As you're, I think, fully aware, we have $275 million worth of grants that went towards this project, and we'll be looking at putting additional federal funds in it. I believe it is scheduled for a 3-year project, but I will get more definitive as basically we'll keep you updated on the schedule as it advances.
Okay, great, thank you.
Vice Chairman, do you have anything?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you for coming out and bringing the whole team. It's nice to see everybody. I know between the heavy truck traffic out there on USA Parkway and our mountain weather, we take a pretty heavy toll on the highways here. I was wondering if you could, I'm just curious about the balance between the district and whatever level of autonomy it has versus kind of statewide needs assessments. I know on larger projects, a lot of times they're prioritized based on needs. And could you just give us a little bit of idea? Is the district here fully at the mercy of what happens statewide, or they have a little bit of flexibility in how they address what's facing them within the district?
It's a little bit hard to answer because a lot will depend on the conditions. For instance, 3 years ago when I had just returned back in, we had that winter that was just absolute flooding everywhere. And so basically the focus on most of that a lot was in District 2, some in District 3, but a lot was then emergency. We had 40 emergency contracts with like 3 months. That becomes a priority. So emergencies kind of trump all. Then we're looking at the really big areas, and there are areas of growth really is of course Vegas has always been, and we've got a few projects there. And then Reno itself, not just with Trick, but you're kind of going up, up at Sparks, Pyramid Way. I'm sorry, I had to think for a minute right there. The 395 is really the massive growth there, and we still have 4 phases left of the Spaghetti Bowl in the Reno area. The other thing we're seeing is a renewed growth in mining. So across the state, we're seeing that in Winnemucca, a lot more of the rural areas. Also the increased just trade, but truck traffic going up 95 and 93. So one of our priorities across the state is really we have a program looking at passing lanes. It doesn't really increase capacity, but it does increase mobility and make it safer. So we've we've finished like 27 of them in the past, I want to say 6 or 7 years, and we're planning about 3 or 4 more a year to continue on. And that's just to kind of ease it across the state. So I'm not sure I'm really answering your question, but a lot depends on the immediacy of the need and the criticality of the project itself.
Very good, thank you. No, that's helpful. Only 4 phases left on the Spaghetti Bowl. I don't know what's going to happen to everyone if it actually finishes at some point. I think our reality will be shaken.
Well, I can tell NDOT's going to be in business a long time.
Yeah. Job security. Thank you.
I don't have too many questions for you. Just wanted to thank you for taking the time to come up and having your team with you as well. So it's been a great working relationship so far, and I expect the same in the years to follow. So thank you.
No, again, I think the collaboration has been exceptional here, and I appreciate it.
Great.
So thank you.
So much. All right. Is there any public comment? All right. Not seeing any. We have a motion, right?
Is there going to adopt something?
I think we're supposed to adopt something.
All right, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to accept the Nevada Department of Transportation or NDOT Infrastructure Work Program and/or other elements as presented by NDOT.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you again very much. You guys have a great day. Moving right along to item number 13. This is discussion only. No action, no public comment will be taken. Presentation by the Carson Water Subconservancy District regarding regional water trends and models and the 30-year Regional Drought and Water Sustainability Plan. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. For the record, my name is Lindsay Marsh. I am a water resource specialist for Carson Water Subconservancy District, and today I'll be telling you guys about the 30-year Regional Water Sustainability Plan. Now, Story County is a part of two different watersheds, as you guys probably know. Your portion of the Carson River watershed is actually quite small, and a lot of this, only a small portion of your constituents will be either affected in these groundwater basins, but it's just for your awareness and edification. My name is not Ed James, so disregard. That's my general manager. He's actually leaving us here in the next month, so he's going to be retiring. It's super sad. Anyways, moving on. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the regional systems, what we found with our reports, historic Carson River flows, changes in runoff that we're seeing, groundwater modeling efforts that we're doing in conjunction with USGS. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Alpine Decree, as well as conjunctive management, which is coming down. And if there is any effects of groundwater pumping on stream flow, potential mitigation strategies that we have identified through this plan. And at the end, a few takeaway points. I'm going to try and get through this as soon as possible because I know you guys have a lengthy agenda today, so I'll try and get through this as fast as possible. This project started in 2023 with a grant obtained by the Nevada Emergency Department. Funding was used to hire Loomis and Associates to look over 9 different purveyors in the upper and middle Carson watershed and their groundwater pumping. This was done in conjunction with the USGS, and those modeling efforts will be used to feed the 30-year report. It was a very large collaborative process. We have been talking to all of the water purveyors in the upper and middle Carson River watershed, the Division of Water Resources, the USGS, DRI. I mean, it's been a massive project, and it's changed over time as well, just because of how large the scope was and how granular we had to get with the amounts and the totals of pumping that we had to correct a few times with the state. But it was very, very interesting. We were originally going to do the whole Carson River watershed, which is all the way down through past Lahontan to Churchill County, but because of the amount of work that was required to go into this project, we had to stop in the upper and middle Carson River watershed, which is what the lower watershed wants to hear about, is people in the upper watershed affecting the amount of water they're getting. So what did we find? We found that these 9 water purveyors, which I will go into a little bit later, had adequate water rights and water capacity for future growth through the next 30 years to 2051. So we did 2021 to 2051. We found that Minden and Gardnerville Ranchos are projected to exceed their water demand and will need additional wells in the future. They're already putting this into work. It's in their water master plan, so it wasn't anything that they didn't know already. The study didn't evaluate any system constraints in any of the water purveyor systems. We didn't go that deep into it, so there may be need for more wells in the future, but we did not put that into this report. And then Silver Springs Mutual Water Company and Stagecoach General Improvement District are projected to have adequate water capacity and water rights. However, they are limited by their perennial yield. So if they were going to grow any more than their projected amount, they would have to find a different source of water for their basins. And one of the reasons why this report came about is because in 2023, the USGS came out with a Middle Carson River Basin report, which had these 2 graphics in it, which really alarmed some people in the lower watershed, because when you look at this, you can see that the total discharge on the right-hand side, over time from the 1940s all the way into 2018, you can see that there is a general decline over time. And so they were really worried that any groundwater pumping happening in the upper watershed was affecting them downstream, which is always a concern. However, Carson Water Subconservancy District wanted to make sure that it wasn't just human influences and see if there was anything major going on there. So what we did is we replicated these 2 graphs and did it on the west fork of the Carson River and the east fork of the Carson River. And we also showed decline there. Now, in the upper parts of the river watershed, there isn't a lot of human pumping going on or human activities going on or water demand, and so therefore this is mostly what's happening with Mother Nature herself. So there's already a decline happening there. So we found that it's not just due to pumping, but it's also due to Mother Nature not supplying as much as she has done in the past. It was really interesting when we went into the Carson River flows looking back, because we don't really have the capability to do that in the future. We're not projecting anything, we're just looking back. And when we look back from 1940 to 1980, we split it right there and then cast it forward from 1980 to about 2020. And what you can see here on the graph is anywhere on the left-hand side in the past, from 1940 to 1980, it's not nearly as variable as it is in the last 40 years. We can see that peaks are becoming higher and our droughts are becoming more severe. We're having that large range in annual average discharge, which was really interesting to us, that we're actually getting more volume of water now. However, it's not all usable water because of the floods that have been happening. I think we put an insane amount into the desert, in the order of upwards of 200,000 acre feet into the desert at one point. It was unusable water because we had flood concerns. So we're not being able to use all of that water in those years. And then another thing that we saw as trends going into the Carson River was the timing of the runoff when it's coming down from the snow. Now we found that if we still split it into that 1940 to 1975 sections, that it's really hard to see on this graph, but on the East Fork and the West Fork, the fraction of flow is actually coming down earlier in the year, March, April, May, instead of June, July, and August. So you're seeing that more of that water is coming down earlier in the year instead of later, and that can kind of mess up allocation with the alpine degree because of the irrigation systems there. So very interesting things when we're looking back on it. It's going to keep me busy for the next 30 years trying to figure out what's going to happen, right? So if we look at groundwater pumping, after we look at historical stream flows here, so the 9 water purveyors that we looked at were Gardnerville Ranchos, Gardnerville Water Company, Town of Minden, Douglas County, Indian Hills, mostly in the Upper Carson, they have a lot. Then Carson City, Lyon, Stagecoach, and Silver Springs. We found that Lyon County Utility has the most growth, and this growth is not specifically people growth, but it's water growth, which is different, a little bit different. And so that's what we saw here. We got these all from their water master plans. So we confirmed these with each of the utilities. And just as a snapshot from each groundwater basin, the Upper Carson model covers the Carson groundwater pumpage. The Middle Carson covers Eagle Valley, Dayton Valley, and Churchill Valley. So that's what the Middle and Carson were separated into. It was really interesting to go back because we wanted to see if there was any trends of increasing trends either in municipal, domestic, irrigation, those 3 major water uses. And so we found that in the Carson Valley, the 2 major water uses are municipal and irrigation. Now the main driver of increase in the Carson Valley groundwater pumping is due to domestic, and that is because of the town of Minden's intertie. They actually pump water in the town of Minden and ship it over to Carson City. So they quite frequently use that intertie. So their pumping has gone up in the recent years. And as well as those peaks, with stream flow coming down, a lot of the agricultural users in that area rely on stream flow, but in those seasons where there isn't as much, they definitely use supplemental groundwater pumping rates, and that's why we see more over time them using more and more. So we have a little bit of that. And then if we pop on over to Eagle Valley, you can see that decrease is along the lines of that increase in Carson Valley. That's due to the intertie that I was talking about earlier. And so it's actually decreased quite a bit until you hit about 2019 when the Quill water treatment plant went down, so they've been pumping a little bit more. And then the pandemic happened and everybody returned home and we found out they wanted to use more water at home. So we found out that they were using a little bit more water during that time. It's really interesting. So these all come from the state engineer's groundwater pumping inventory. So these you can check out. They're available to the public. And then we have Dayton Valley groundwater pumping, and the major driver there is also municipal, but municipal has been going down over time. There's also been a decrease in irrigation. There's not as much farming going on there as there originally was. And then we pop on over to the Churchill Valley. The #1 groundwater user there is domestic. There's a lot of domestic wells. The state engineer estimates it to be about 1 acre foot per well. However, they're entitled to 2 acre feet. But in our modeling efforts, we found that it's probably closer to 0.5 acre feet. There's not a lot of lawns out there in Silver Springs. So we used that in our modeling efforts, and it was really interesting to see the trends in each of these different groundwater basins. So one of the things that we wanted to check on stream flow was to see if there was any trends over time at each of the gauges. So we used a 20-year moving average to see back from 1960 all the way up to our planning period of 2021 and 2024 to see if there was any surface water trends sectioned off into the irrigation season. So October through March, Lahontan has call for water. Downstream users have call. There's no irrigation happening in the upper watershed. The next portion that we did was April through July, I believe, if I can count, right? And that's irrigation season. And then we have irrigation season with regulation, which there's not enough water to go around, so they have to start putting regulation on it. And so we divided stream flow into those 3 specific seasons. So all of our graphs kind of look like this. To simplify it, what we found is on the East Fork, we found that the stream flow was increasing October through March and decreasing in April through June and July through September in those irrigation seasons. And then the West Fork was decreasing on all of them. Carson City gauge was decreasing on all of them. But we found it was really interesting. Fort Churchill was increasing at all three stages. So what does that all mean, right? We can put a trend line on anything, but we want to know what's statistically significant. And to make sure that that data was statistically significant, we put a p-value on it, which means any p-value that's less than 0.05 means that there's a non-random chance of there actually being something going on. And so that was the decrease in stream flow at the Gardnerville gauge, decrease in stream flow at the Woodfords gauge, and then the increase at the Fort Churchill gauge from July through September. So that we know that these trends are actually happening in these 3 seasons. So hopping over to the USGS models, what does all of this mean in conjunction with the USGS models? What are we plugging in? Because of the federal shutdown that happened, we weren't able to update any mistakes that were happening on these groundwater models because we have to get our grant through, get through the approval process. But we do know what this little error is right here. We double counted the intertime, so that's fine. But you see just a little bit of growth coming through the Carson Valley, through the upper watershed, and then the blue line is that baseline. So we just see a little bit of pumping increase through that time. And then actually in the middle Carson model, we don't see a large increase. And this is due to the Quill water treatment plant coming online and being able to treat 4 million gallons per day. That will help alleviate any groundwater pumping impacts in general in the Carson River models. Here are a few more graphs. This is just showing the change in stream flow due to groundwater pumping. As I said earlier, there's quite a bit of errors in this data with all the jumping around. This will be ironed out in the published report that should be available for use, and then we do reference that in our report for later this year. So wet and dry years. The Alpine Decree distributes the surface water flows on wet, average, and dry years. Impact on irrigation users, because in dry years groundwater is pumped more due to their demand on surface water. All of the major water purveyors are able to handle drought in dry years, but there are areas facing potential water shortages in the upper Carson Valley, like Johnson Lane or Rowan's Trough areas that have more domestic, and those are not specifically recharged by the Carson River, but more of the Pine Nut Mountain area there. And then there'll need to be additional work in the future to evaluate the impact of multiple dry periods. So in 2017, the Nevada legislation authorized the state engineer to conjunctively manage surface water and groundwater. We know that they're hydraulically connected. And so we were wondering if this was going to have an impact on any of the purveyors in our watershed, because our focus was more municipal, not irrigation or domestic. And what they came back and told us is that they're currently implementing conjunctive management on the Carson River for all new water right applications, not on existing water right applications. So that will be something that will have to be done in the future when purveyors either want to move water rights to a certain well closer to the river. They'll have to take that into consideration. I know that in Carson City, they wanted to move a well over in Fuji Park, which is in the Clear Creek tributary to the Carson River. And they were tentatively told, no, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to mitigate for any impacts you're going to have on that tributary. And so they did a 1-for-1. They had rights on Clear Creek, surface water rights, and so they submitted those to work for their groundwater well. So I know that there's things right now that are happening. However, most of the concern is on the Humboldt, which is in a lot dire situation than we are. We're actually looking pretty good compared to them. And so talking about that potential mitigation strategies, we broke it up into those seasons that I mentioned earlier. So a non-irrigation season, one way to potentially mitigate any of that concern would be to release dedicated surface water rights from upstream reservoirs or recharge using reclaimed water. Early irrigation season, same thing, but you could also use dedicated surface water irrigation rights. And then late in the irrigation season, that July through September, where we're seeing the most statistically significant changes on the Carson River, would be downstream users couldn't place a call for water. Mitigation might be necessary where groundwater pumping occurs. And then coordination, this would be heavy coordination with the Federal Water Master and NDWR, which would be essential to determine the appropriate steps forward. We're definitely leaning on them. We're not any authority in this area. So the key takeaways, everybody has adequate water rights. Everybody has adequate water quality. The Carson River flows are changing. We can see it historically, that it's happening over time, and so we need to put that in our water master plans. This specifically is not a water master plan itself. It's just wholly for reference, and reference only to water master plans in the future for anybody in the watershed. Groundwater pumping, we're seeing an increase, but not a crazy increase, especially in the Middle Carson River. We're not really seeing any. Conjunctive management's coming. We're going to have to plan for that because we know that surface water and groundwater are hydraulically connected. And so far, the Alpine Decree does a really good job of administering water during wet and dry years to all water users. And that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions, but thank you. That was a great presentation.
Vice Chairman?
Just one or two. Thank you very much. As I understand it, we are mostly a contributor and not a receiver of water from this watershed. Is that a correct assessment?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that, and I know that the Subconservancy is not necessarily a regulatory body, but is your thought, and I realize we're still somewhat preliminary on the findings here, is your thought that management practices will be adequate to address kind of the changes that we're seeing, or should the participants in the watershed be looking at greater stabilization, I don't know, additional reservoir capacity, something more broader or more impactful than how and when we release the water to adapt for the shift that's happening?
Right. I think right now we're just focusing on education and awareness, promoting that collaborative process up and down the watershed. This report was really meant to get the information because nobody really knew what that water deficit might be to the Carson River, whereas the Humboldt River is looking at 50,000 acre feet. We're looking at maybe 2,000, which is definitely something that we can mitigate either for direct recharge or management practices. And I don't know what that looks like in the future or what specific practice that we can do, but collaboration is definitely the key that we're looking for.
Very good. Thank you so much.
All right, I don't have any questions for you. I appreciate you taking the time to come up and give us a presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a nice day. All right, moving right along to item number 14. This is discussion for possible action, consideration and possible approval of the fiscal year 25 through 26 project scope of work updates for St. Mary's Arts Center building restoration projects. Sarah.
Sarah starts for the record. So St. Mary's Arts Center is requesting approval of updates to their FY 25-26 building restoration project scopes. The originally approved scope of work included elevator design at $147,000, repointing of exterior brick and stone at the main building and the caretaker cottage at $114,500, servicing of storm windows at $21,000, and painting of exterior window ledges at $3,478. That was what was requested from the county. So since approval, St. Mary's has had to make changes to their originally proposed projects. While the elevator design was originally at that $147,000, only schematic design will be completed this year, with design development and construction documents deferred to FY 26-27 after further consultation can be had with the State Historic Preservation Office, or SHPO, and the Commission on Cultural Centers and Historic Preservation, also referred to here as the CCCHP. So as a result, the cost for elevator design in the current fiscal year is reduced to $44,000. In addition, the combined costs for repointing that exterior brick and stone at the main building and the caretaker cottage has increased slightly $3,000 from $114,500 to a new cost of $117,500. That's just due to updated construction pricing. So given the reduced cost for that elevator design, St. Mary's is requesting approval of several additions to their FY 25-26 scope items, which include a geotechnical report at $9,750 and a hazardous materials report at $1,775. This will support that elevator addition design. They're also requesting boiler valve replacements at $3,832, replacement of 31 radiator control valves at $16,350, relocation of the washer drain line to meet code and mitigate water infiltration into the crawl space at $4,669. They're going to install a French drain along the west side of the building, and that's estimated to be $14,350. They're going to investigate some ceiling and repair these ceiling leaks in guest rooms 6 and 7. That's estimated at $12,880. They also are going to repair and deep clean some of the original wood floors in the first floor hallway, gallery, and nurse's staircase, and the third floor art studio. So all of this woodwork will be $19,350. And then the security camera system upgrade will be $6,998. I believe that this proposed scope of work update is within St. Mary's approved FY 25-26 building restoration budget and is consistent with the ongoing preservation and maintenance needs of this county-owned facility. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, I'm good, thanks.
How about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the fiscal year 25-26 project scope of work updates for St. Mary's Arts Center building restoration projects.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
For tax abatements to be noticed at least 30 calendar days in advance of the public meeting with GoEd for those tax abatements. Due to an administrative error, GoEd failed to notify Story County of the tax abatement application public meeting at least 30 calendar days in advance. GoEd is therefore seeking the county manager and county assessor's signature on a 30-day waiver notice. In addition, GoEd is requesting waiver to be signed by Story County School District Superintendent, which is obviously a separate entity. If all three of the waivers are signed and received by GoEd, the application can proceed at the February 5th, 2026 meeting. Under these circumstances and applicable to this application only, we believe this won't affect any future application expectations, meaning that 30-day notice.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
I have just one, and it's maybe a procedural one. Is you know, with as the assessor as an elected official, is this a request from us asking the assessor to go ahead and do that, or is there some need for authorization on our side to allow that to happen?
I think I can help. Austin Osborne for the record. Thank you for the question. I might defer to our Deputy DA, Mr. Brown, if necessary. Laura had explained that there's 3 entities involved in this. I did speak with Superintendent Gardner, and he informed me that the school district does intend to authorize the waiver. The one is for me, would absolutely be subject to board approval. I believe the assessor's office could take action as she wants independently. I'm not 100% sure about that, but nevertheless, it takes us all, and I would need to get authorization from the board. We are seeking authorization from the board as we don't want to hold up a $300 million company. We do recommend this. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I guess my question would be, it seems like maybe it'd be appropriate for us to authorize the county manager and request the assessor to do so as well, if does that feel appropriate?
Can I wait for all input?
Absolutely.
Janice Eden, Story County Assessor for the record. Basically, I would never step out of that box, even though I'm an elected official. I would ask for the commission and our DA to approve for me to sign something that would override any sort of public meeting law, any sort of agenda posting or anything like that. So we basically decided that we were just going to all include it all in one instead of having to have a bunch of different separate things. So that's where we're at.
All right. No other questions?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
I am. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve the county manager and the county assessor to each sign an open meeting law waiver, NRS 360.7571B, to allow for SVRNO Property Owner 1 LLC's tax abatement application to be heard at the Governor's Office of Economic Development Board meeting scheduled for February 5th, 2026 at 2 p.m.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Jana.
Thank you.
And Austin. On to item number 16, this is discussion for possible action, discussion and possible consideration of the board's position responding to the Nevada Governor's responding to GoEd's requesting from Story County a letter of acknowledgement regarding SV Reno's application. Laura, take it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Laura Mather for the record. So now that the waiver has been approved for the county manager and the assessor to sign, then it can proceed. So GoEd is requesting a letter of acknowledgement for this abatement request. The abatement impacts are summarized in the letter from GoEd that was attached. This company coming in will result in at least 14 new full-time jobs for the next 5 years. The company is planning on investing $300 million in capital equipment. The 10-year total economic impact is estimated to be at $400 million.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, thank you.
How about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to direct county staff to submit a letter to GoEd acknowledging an application by SVRNO Property Owner 1 LLC's application to the Governor's Office of Economic Development for a data center sales tax abatement and data center personal property tax abatement for operations planned in Story County.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
On to item number 17, this discussion for possible action, possible acceptance of a proposal for the design of Fire Station 71 remodel and expansion from HK Architects in the amount not to exceed $795,000. This proposal is a full scope proposal for architectural, civil, structural, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical design, bidding services, and construction services. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Northen, Project Manager. As you'll see in the staff summary, our project team wrote and published a request for statements of qualifications. We had 5 respondent design firms or teams. Staff evaluated the written responses and shortlisted 2 firms. Staff then scheduled follow-up in-person interviews. Both written responses and the in-person interview answers were scored empirically by staff, and staff has determined that H&K Architects was the best qualified firm for this particular project. Staff then requested a proposal for services based on a defined scope of work. Staff had some clarifications and modifications to the scope of work, and a revised proposal was received. Staff at this time has no further concerns and recommends that the board accept the proposal from H&K Architects and to direct staff to draft a contract for design services for review and possible acceptance at a following board meeting. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments for Mike?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, I'm happy to see this project moving forward.
Agreed. Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to accept the proposal from H&K Architects for the design of Fire Station 71 remodel and expansion in an amount not to exceed $795,000. This proposal for a full scope proposal for architecture, civil, structural, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical design, bidding services, and construction services.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, sirs.
On to item number 18, this is discussion only. No action, no public comment will be taken. Story County fiscal year 26, second quarter budget versus actual review.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. I had some beautiful slides for you, but I had technical difficulties, so I won't bore you with those.
Postpone the item.
Okay, bye. Okay, this is a mid-year financial update intended to provide a high-level look where the county stands financially halfway through this fiscal year. This information is for update only and it's not required any action. At 50% of the year behind us, Story County's finances are tracking consistent with the adopted budget. Revenues across all major funds are trending positively, and expenditures are remaining within the expected mid-year levels. For the general fund specifically, actual revenues collected to date total approximately $37 million, while expenditures total is approximately $25 million. This results in a revenue to expense ratio of approximately 1.48 to 1. This means that for every dollar we're spending, we're collecting $1.48. In comparison, our budgeted ratio is 0.77 to 1. Both of these ratios do include the inter-county transfers, and what I'm seeing the reason for this discrepancy right now is the first half of the year, everyone always spends fairly conservatively. We have several projects within all departments, all funds that usually start more in the spring. This time of year is allocated for planning and design. I'll get more into that later. It's also important to note that these ratios do not necessarily represent a surplus in revenue for the reasons I just explained. On the expenditure side, approximately 58% of the general fund budget remains available at mid-year. The $25 million that I spoke of earlier includes $11 million of interfund county transfers. The balance of $14 million is distributed between the 21 general fund departments and the 4 main categories: salaries, benefits, service and supplies, and capital outlay. 3 departments are slightly over budget in the salary section due to the timing of the CBA ratification. These departments are community development, comptrollers, and emergency management. We really did expect to see a lot more departments fall into this level, so I'm happy that the way we were budgeting and how things progressed, we're not there yet. All 3 of these departments are within 5% or less of the budget, which we find very doable. We can correct that if necessary at the end of the year. I'd like to briefly highlight a few departments where we're keeping a closer eye on spending as fiscal year progresses, and as all overages, if necessary, we will address these in the June adjustment period. HR, or administrative department, currently has approximately 8% of its overall budget remaining. This is primarily due to unbudgeted expenditures in the adverse labor relations account. This account is generally not budgeted anything in there if we do not have an ongoing case, which was what happened at the time of the budget last year. We'd rather not plan for having problems, so unfortunately they do come. Historically, costs of this nature are again addressed in the June adjustment period. Community development, this department has a remaining budget of approximately 48%. This is due to, again, the CBA ratification timing, specific employee events that are unavoidable, and a large refund to Switch for an overpayment of their permits or business licenses. I'm not sure, I didn't write that one down. We expect this department budget to actuals to even out as the balance of the year progresses. District Court, at the time of this report, has approximately 32% of the budget remaining. However, it's important to note that there is a payment to the public defender, which was actually a liability in FY25. Reclassing this payment brings that remaining budget to 47%. Health and Human Resources, for this department, the benefits category is currently trending slightly over budget, with approximately 54% of the budget utilized at mid-year. This is due to a timing issue of in medical insurance choices. All other departments are trending at or under the expected 50% usage at this mid-year point. I'd also like to mention that this is the first time in my history of being in the comptroller's office that we've had so few departments over budget at this point in time. So I'm really happy to see that. Staff will continue to monitor all revenues and expenditures throughout the remaining of the fiscal year, and will report any material variances to the Commission as part of regular budget review processes. Before I get into the other funds, do you have any questions on the general fund?
None from me. Jennifer, Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions, comments?
None, thank you.
Okay.
Vice Chairman?
Just two quick ones on the revenue side.
Okay.
We're outperforming significantly in miscellaneous revenue, and I'm just wondering what comprises that, or do we have directionally an idea of what?
Miscellaneous revenue accounts for more things like charges for services in specific departments. I can't think off the top of my head what any of those specifically are, but I can present you with a list at the next meeting if you'd like.
Yeah, no, that's fine, thank you.
Okay.
And then my second question is, should, our licenses and permits are greatly outperforming our budget. Should we censure Joe's department for doing so well and throwing your budget projections off?
No, we want Joe to keep working. Okay. At the time of the budget last year, I'm glad you brought that up. Budgeting last year, I always look to the fire district and community development to try to give a crystal ball version of what's going to happen. If you recall, this time last year, there were talks of recession, building was going to come to a screeching halt, so we budgeted fairly conservatively. I think our numbers are showing that that's not the case. It's, again, I say this every review, every budget, every audit, we're budgeting approximately 18 months ahead of where things are going to shake out. So it is sometimes throwing darts against the wall. It is also important to note that this is the first time permits and licensing is outtrending ad valorem. So we're at least getting one of our revenue categories nailed down. Knock on wood.
It's all right. I'm happy for us to be wrong in this way. Thank you.
Yes, I'd rather be wrong on revenues than expenses, for sure.
Very good.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
Moving on to the road department, revenues collected to date is approximately 84%. This is driven primarily by the ad valorem revenues that we now spread out across different funds. Intergovernmental funding is 84% collected. That includes the gas tax. Expenses are currently at the mid-year point at 49% of budgeted usage. Road capital projects are approximately at 56% usage, reflecting a continued activity on the Virginia City Road CIP, which began in FY25 and is the primary road project for FY24. While Virginia City Road projects are expected to come in near the overall approved budget, the current fiscal year reflects an overage due to the timing of construction completion, dates spanning across fiscal years. I'm addressing this issue with staff, and Jason and I are looking at more of a model as moving forward into the budget years that we're going to move things out a year so that work can actually start July 1st and all be completed within the summer months and not start in April and May waiting for the weather to decide to give him a window for these things to start, and then we can't complete them in the current fiscal year. I'm going to move on to the road department, the equipment acquisition department. Revenues collected to date in this fund are approximately 64%, primarily from ad valorem. Expenses are currently at 12% usage. Overall revenues are tracking ahead of expenditures at this point in the fiscal year. Vehicle and equipment purchases, however, are progressing as planned, with remaining items either pending procurement or currently on order and expected to be received by the end of the year. The adopted budget approved 17 vehicles and equipment purchases. Since July 1, the board approved 3 additional purchases. One was a sheriff search and rescue vehicle and 2 sheriff motorcycles, bringing the total to approved purchases to 20 items. To date, we have purchased 9 of these items, and they include 2 trailers, 2 public works pickups, 1 senior center pickup, 1 county UTV, and the unbudgeted items. Remaining budgeted purchases include several large pieces of equipment and 5 different county vehicles spread across the sheriff's office, public works, and the county. As Adam mentioned earlier, one of those pieces of equipment is the mobile EOC that he let you know was going to be late. We also are in the process 3 sheriff rotation trucks we have just received. So the purchases are progressing as we have planned. Capital Projects Fund, at midpoint, the revenue collected is approximately 47%, which includes half of the annual $4 million transfer from the general fund. Expenses are currently approximately 16%, of the budgeted usage. This reflects many of our projects still in planning and design stage. These projects include the Fairgrounds project, Station 71, the Sheriff's Tri-Substation, the Tri-Restroom upgrades, and Virginia City Jail Public Safety Complex. Activity on these projects are expected to advance later in the fiscal year, and we should see more movement financially. Completed projects include the Lockwood Senior Center, which was completed for approximately $6.4 million. Considering that we started this project 3 to 4 years ago with a hard, fast budget of $5 million, I'm very happy with how we've had increases in costs. The project did come in relatively within budget as the years progressed. We've also completed 2 fuel pump replacements at Virginia City Public Works Office and the Tri-Complex. We will begin the Lockwood pump replacement in the next month or so. And I think Mike Northern gave you a good update in his staff report of other projects. And that's all I have for Story County, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you, Jennifer. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any other questions for the comptroller?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Just one, Jennifer, can you remind me what, I know we did some different allocations with the ad valorem. Can you remind me which of these funds were included in that?
The 3 funds that I discussed, roads, equipment acquisition, and capital projects, all receive ad valorem proceeds. We also are distributing that to water and sewer, VCTC, and that's it, I think, right now.
Very good, thank you.
All right. That does it for questions, Jennifer. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to item number 19 is to recess to convene as the Story County Water and Sewer Board, bringing us to item number 20, which is discussion only, no action, no public comment will be taken. Water and Sewer Fiscal Year 26 Second Quarter Budget versus Actual Review. Comptroller McCain.
Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. Again, this presentation is for information only and does not require any board action. At 50% of the year behind us, the Water Fund has collected approximately $406,000 in operating revenue and incurred approximately $339,000 in expenditures. This is resulting in a revenue to expense ratio of 1.20 to 1 and reflects the stable operations for this point of the fiscal year. The Sewer Fund, on the other hand, at 50% of the year, has collected approximately $269,000 in operated revenues and has incurred approximately $349,000 in expenditures, resulting in a revenue to expense ratio of 0.07 to 1. The revenues of these ratios, again, do reflect timing of revenue collections and timing of the need for expenditures. And these revenues do exclude the transfer from the general fund department, the general fund into the water and sewer enterprise funds, because I think it's important to show where these funds are in collecting the money to operate themselves. For salary costs within these 2 funds, salary expenditures in both funds are trending slightly over budget due to the timing of the collective bargaining unit, and unforeseen overtime needs. These current overages remain manageable at less than 5%, and we will continue to monitor both budgets throughout the year. And that's all I have for those two funds.
Thank you very much. Water and Sewer Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions?
None, thank you.
Water and Sewer Commissioner Mitchell, do you have any questions?
Just one, and that is Jennifer, you touched on the timing difference between expenses and revenues. No cause for alarm with the ratios there, especially given that there are some transfers coming into cover as far as making sure that those.
I don't have a cause for alarm for any of these funds. Currently, we did have a large expenditure within the sewer department for a large piece of equipment to keep the sewer functioning. That was a one-time purchase, so that throws those ratios off a little bit.
Great, thank you.
And again, that was the intent of those transfers, was to keep those expenses within their own funds.
Great. Thank you again for that update. Moving right along to item number 21 is to recess to convene as the Story County Fire Protection District Board, bringing us to item number 22, which is discussion only, Fire District Fiscal Year 26 second quarter budget versus actual review.
Okay. Good morning, Jennifer McCain for the record. Again, this is for informational purposes only and does not require board action. Overall, at the midpoint of the year, the fire district funds are tracking consistent with the adopted budget. The Fire District General Fund revenues collected total approximately $19.8 million, or 90% of the annual budget, while expenditure totals are $13 million approximately, or 44% of the budget. This results in a revenue to expense ratio of approximately 1.52 to 1, which is consistent with typical expenditure patterns observed during the first half of the year. Fire District historically spends conservatively the first half of the year, with non-essential purchases that are deferred to the second half of the year. Within their capital fund, expenditures are approximately at 12% of the budgeted usage. Activity is expected to increase as construction progresses through for Station 75 and budgeted equipment deliveries are delivered. I don't know how I got messed up on that. The mutual aid fund is used to account for revenues and expenditures related for out-of-county mutual aid responses. Mutual aid revenues are currently trending higher than anticipated, primarily due to the timing of collections related to out-of-district fires. A portion of the current fiscal revenue collections were actually billed in FY25. It's just with the different lag of how different agencies process their payments. Expenditures at the mid-year are currently within an appropriate range of 53% of the budget. And that's all I have for fire, unless you have questions for me.
Thank you for that, Jennifer. Fire Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Fire Commissioner Mitchell?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you again for that update.
Thank you very much. And I apologize for no slideshow.
Next time. The third quarter budget review. On to item number 23, recess to reconvene as the Story County Board of County Commissioners, bringing us to item number 24, which is discussion for possible action, provide staff direction and authorization as needed to amend current scope of work for the Story County Parks Facilities Assessment, and to allow the county manager to sign addendums to meet the scope of work to include upgrades to Virginia City baseball fields, and examine alternatives for Virginia City swimming pool replacement versus relocation with a recreational facility, and additional community outreach at an additional unbudgeted amount not to exceed $25,000 or other value recommended by the board. County Manager Osborne.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osborne for the record. I'm really just going to kick us off for the first part of this, and I'm going to pass it to Lisa, who is really handling this project and doing a fine job with that. Originally last year, this board had given us direction to explore our current parks and look at them for the condition of equipment and the need for expansions and improvements and replacements, whether it's equipment, irrigation, lawn, whatever. That project is ongoing. However, there's been some discussion about where we're going to go with the county swimming pool, as well as some other things that Lisa's going to talk about. And this is where we want to come back to the board and really get what you would like to see happen with that facility. We believe that we can keep the county swimming pool running for maybe another year or two. It's pushing it to go any further than that. It's probably even pushing it to go 1 or 2 years. There are some substantial problems with the facility as far as the systems in the water and leakage and that sort of thing. And so talking with this board, we would like to get, what do you want to see happen with the pool? I have heard concepts of just replace it as it is. We've heard about replace it with a bigger facility outdoor, replace it with an indoor pool, move the pool to a better place in or around the park or somewhere else that can accommodate additional facilities. I've even heard potentially a recreation center where the pool would be indoor and it would also be accompanied with other recreation facilities, basketball courts, indoor, whatever you imagine you would have it in a facility like that. So I think it's really appropriate that we come to the board, because we can't talk individually about these things, but we can talk as a board. What would you like to see with that facility into the future? What types of things we as staff, what should we be looking at? A very large, complex facility that may include procuring additional land, getting larger grants, setting aside additional budget monies, or just doing, like I talked about, maybe just replacing what we have and being good with that. So this is an opportunity for this board really to give us some direction without any specifics at this point. And then we will then update this contract we have for the Parks and Facilities review to include these elements, and then continue to keep coming back to the board with further direction and further detail about what these facilities would look like. And ultimately, you would be having the chance to approve the actual moving forward with design and a procurement of property and building and those sorts of things. So again, this is just direction, pointing us where you would like to go. That's about all I have, and then Lisa's going to talk about the work she's doing otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lisa Massell for the record. So we've met with Loomis, some of the staff and myself, and kind of talked about some of the different things, and during the budgeting process, what we're looking at as far as the aquatic center, different parks that people have been asking for, and then of course with the Gold Hill property that we're looking at. So on late Friday, I received an email with the 2 different addendums basically. So one of them would be an additional $9,500, which would take a look at the baseball fields at Miners Park, which would include the dugouts, the snack bar, the bleachers, and the irrigation, as well as a potential aquatic center, and a park course in VC and a dog park in Lockwood. Another additional cost would be $14,500 that we could put into one addendum with the others that will look at project initiation, needs assessment, site mapping, site investigation, workshops, community surveys on all parks in Story County with the summary of the community input. Some of this that we're looking at is to do one addendum rather than to keep coming back as we have these meetings, just in the essence of time, to be a good fiduciary at taxpayer funds and to see what the community actually wants. Not just in Virginia City, but Mark Twain, Gold Hill, the Highlands, as well as Lockwood. We looked at doing workshops in conjunction with surveys written and online. So we're thinking of doing basically a town hall in Lockwood and then having one in Virginia City, and the one in Virginia City would incorporate the Highlands, Mark Twain, and Gold Hill right here in town with Virginia City. So we're looking at to incorporate everything right now, the cost of $24,000.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it, unless you have questions.
Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
Not at this time.
Vice Chairman?
Yeah, I have kind of two different directions here, and one are some thoughts around the idea of expanding the scope, and I'll save that for a minute. And I don't mean to throw a wrench in the works, and you feel free to tell me that it's not something that could be included in the scope, but what has surfaced over the, for me in contact with constituents locally, has been several requests for us to look at dog park here in Virginia City. And I don't know if it's possible to roll that in with kind of this expanded look. If not, that's perfectly fine, but I thought I would just mention it. If there's a way for it to fit under the expanded scope that they're looking at. That was not a desire that I had verbalized to me really much in the past. And so I thought that I would just pass that along if it is something that we can include. And kind of tangential to that, if that second chunk of the scope has the ability to roll in maybe some conversation with the VCTC and look at the fairgrounds as potentially a joint use, or some part of it as a joint use facility between Parks and Recreation and then also tourism and event activities. I don't know if that's possible, but it seems like that if we're doing a broad study, it would be worth conversation around if that's a facility that can be in the mix. As far as the aquatic center side of things, to my fellow commissioner, I just have a couple of thoughts there. You know, one of them that's been on my mind is the loss of the private pool that we had here that was changed into a different usage in one of the hotels. While that is not a community facility, it was a resource or an asset that was available for locals to use. And so with that loss, that kind of, you know, my kids are pasty white, and so having a place that's indoor really helps. And having something that we can do in the off season was really a bonus, even if we had to pay for that ourselves. And with that not in the mix, that leads me to think maybe it's worth looking at something more than what we currently have. The other side of it is we don't know what costs are going to come back at, but currently with our outdoor pool, you know, we get maybe 2.5 months of usage. And so if we get 5 times the usage with an indoor facility for double the cost, as long as we can afford it, that seems to me like a fairly good return on investment. The other thing that's on my mind is later this year we'll need to take up the Divide Fitness lease again. I don't know where that goes. That's not part of the scope of this, but I've not been able to envision a way for us to run that as a standalone county facility, but the thought of potentially rolling it into more of a rec center seems like it might have some merit. And so I don't really know about what the scope of a rec center makes sense. I know things get complicated as far as maybe not where the current pool is, maybe needing to find other land for it. It complicates things very much, but if there's some sort of economy of scale that we can look at, I think now's the time to do that as we have a compelling need with the pool to be replaced. So those are my thoughts.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? Not seeing any. Are you, I guess there's no issues with that if we turn that into a motion?
No, it's written broad enough to expand the scope, so you're fine.
Okay. Are you prepared with a motion?
Yeah.
I don't have any heartache with what you talked about.
Okay.
Do we need, I mean, with the things that you're asking for and to look into this a little further, should we ask them to come back with another budget to include some of these things? Or are we gonna move to approve this budget where it is at this cost?
Well, I think my thought is maybe we approve it where it is so we can get going on it with the request to staff to see if these things can be rolled in there in some way. Yep. If it becomes clear that they can't, then maybe we bring it back. I know that's what you're trying to avoid. That's why I said I hate to throw a wrench in the works, but if it doesn't need to be, I mean, if it is possible for them included, then I don't want to muck it up at this point by changing things since they've already gotten this far down the road. So if that's all right, we'll just note the discussion on the record and make the motion that's here if that's if that works. So, all right. So to be clear, there's a main motion and an alternate motion. The main motion is the broad encompassing both parts of this addendum. The alternate would be just one part of it. Is correct. That the way it's structured? Thank you. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve staff to provide staff direction and authorization as needed to amend current scope of work for the Story County Parks Facilities Assessment and to allow the county manager to sign addendums to meet the scope of work to include upgrades to Virginia City baseball fields at Miners Park, and determine or examine alternatives for Virginia City swimming pool replacement versus relocation with recreational facility and additional community outreach at an additional unbudgeted amount not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 25, discussion for possible action. Consideration and possible approval of resolution number 26-815, a resolution setting grade and salary range of employees fixed by ordinance or resolution per NRS 245.045 for appointed Story County officials for the 25-26 fiscal year and superseding prior year action by resolution for appointed Story County employees with the establishment of lieutenant at grade 144. County Manager?
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osborne for the record. So the Sheriff's Office has explored potential reorganization in the Sheriff's Office. In this case, they have proposed the potential replacement of assistant sheriffs to lieutenants. The Sheriff's Office has asked the HR department to go through and look at the compensation comparables to the other region, look at CBAs and policies that exist in other like agencies in the area to see where this would land. And if the board were to approve this, the HR department finds that a grade 144 would be most aligned with like positions in our classification plan, and also a grade 144 is the same as the assistant sheriffs are currently, so it would be a fiscal neutral change. Beyond that, Sergeant Gaunt is here to represent the Sheriff's Office to talk with the board of why the sheriff would like to make these changes and what their plans are. At this point, I'm just looking at the fiscal elements and the HR elements in here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Dan Gaunt for the record. The Sheriff's Office would like to make these changes for a few reasons. One, the sheriff feels that the assistant sheriff title lends like an unintended top-heavy feel to the Sheriff's Office, and the lieutenants would be more an operational leadership. He would like the distinction between executive level leadership and operational level leadership.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
I'm going to jump in first, gentlemen. So what does this structure look like? Would it look like if we got the lieutenants?
It would be at the top sheriff, under sheriff, then 2 lieutenants and sergeants below below them. And their one lieutenant position would be over dispatch and the jail. The other lieutenant position would be over patrol and investigations.
Okay. And are they going from union to non? Are they going from represented to not represented, or not represented to represented?
I'm going to defer to Austin on that. I don't believe they're going to be union.
Thank you for the explanation.
Commissioners, Austin Osborne for the record, really looking at from HR. The positions of lieutenant, they're being proposed at this time. The job descriptions indicate that they are a non-represented class and that they would not be in a union. They would also be Fair Labor Standards Act exempt. That means not subject to overtime. They would be on a flexible work schedule like a department head, but they would not be department heads.
Do you know, is that comparable in other areas? Like our lieutenants in Reno coming up here looking for a lieutenant job, thinking they're in the union?
Austin Osborne for the record. I'll answer to the best of my ability. I had worked with the Human Resources Office on kind of getting those particulars. The title of lieutenant in some other jurisdictions is a union position in a leadership or a supervisory role, if you want to call it that. Our Jeannie Green, who handles our labor relations and looks into a lot of the background research of this, has indicated that she feels as long as a job description is very clear that it is non-represented and it's Fair Labor Standards Act exempt, and that the roles and responsibilities of these positions are meeting. I'll wait for that if you want.
Sure.
All right, if you're fine, I'll go ahead. So going back, our Human Resources Office finds that as long as that job description is clear in that regard, that this should be okay. I will admit, I'm not comfortable going on the record saying forever and a day. That would never happen, that these individuals may not try to unionize. I'm not comfortable saying that would never happen. I'm not quite sure, but I'm being told that it's not something that's likely to happen under the circumstances.
Okay, so I might have missed it. In other departments, are the lieutenants normally a union position?
There are some where that classification as a title is. I'm being told by the HR office that the title is not necessarily what makes that happen. It's more of the structure of what would make that happen.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did a little bit of research. In some larger departments, it seems that they may sometimes have their own union separate. So it's more of like a management union when you have a lot of lieutenants.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I'm good with my questions. Didn't mean to jump in. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
No, not anymore.
All right.
Thank you.
Vice Chairman?
Yeah, I think most of my questions have been answered. Sergeant Gunn, after having to sit through our meeting, you're probably thrilled about getting rid of administrative positions and making them more operational. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. I think we're good. Did you have something to add, Jennifer?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Jennifer McCain for the record. I think that it's important to note that while you will be approving 2 lieutenant positions, only one of them is available for the current year. Earlier in the budget season, the sheriff deemed it more important for 2 admin positions over the additional assistant sheriff. So there is no budget for 2 lieutenants this year.
So who will run that in the meantime? Is that for you? You were saying the lieutenants are going to be in charge of different stuff?
Yeah, Dan Gaunt for the record. Right now, I am acting as the assistant sheriff over the jail and dispatch.
Gotcha.
This is, to my understanding, the lieutenant position will be a position that must be tested for. So who ends up in that position will be up to the sheriff.
Gotcha. But in the meantime, because there's only one budgeted for, so you, for example, using you as an example, you might just stay in your position even though you're acting. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
That makes sense. Okay. Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. No other questions from the board? All right. Vice Chair, you prepared to make a motion?
I am, yeah. Sorry, give me just a second.
Thank you for the explanation.
So, actually, I'm sorry, I do have one more question. This action that we're taking is to add the lieutenant position, but does not eliminate the assistant sheriff's positions. And I just want to make sure that that's intentional.
Thank you, Commissioners. Austin Osberg for the record. I'll represent Human Resources in this case. There are times that we'll add a position and request the board take action on it to update the resolution and not remove the other position. That does not necessarily mean that there is a person filling that position that's on the list or that that position on the other list is even budgeted. So it'd be up to this board whether you'd be comfortable leaving the assistant sheriffs on there, putting the lieutenants on there. If for some reason a year from now the sheriff wants to make a change and go back to assistant sheriffs, that resolution would accommodate that change.
Okay, thank you. And if I remember correctly, assistant sheriff was a newly created position 3 years ago or so. Does that sound right?
It is, Austin Osberg for the record, it was a newly created position under the current sheriff.
Okay. And I know sometimes within the management structure in a department, a captain sometimes sits kind of in between these two. Is that something that may be considered in the future, or for now are we seeing this as the structure?
Dan Gaunt for the record. As of right now, the sheriff has no intention to include a captain. It'll most likely stay as I described, sheriff, under sheriff, lieutenants, then sergeants below that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So with that, I'll make a motion. I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve resolution number 26-815, a resolution setting grade and salary range of employees fixed by ordinance, or resolution per NRS 245.045 for appointed Story County officials for the 2025-26 fiscal year and superseding prior year action by resolution for appointed Story County employees with the establishment of lieutenant at grade 144.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. And bless you back there, Jim. On to item number 26. This is discussion for possible action. Discussion and consideration per the request of Chairman Carmona directing county staff to research and bring back findings and recommendations to the board regarding possible ordinances limiting certain short-term vacation rentals to persons who are 25 years old or another age limit. County Manager.
Thank you. Austin Osborne for the record. I'm going to pass this back to the board. I believe this is a chance for the board, for the three of you to deliberate on what's in front of you.
Okay.
Myself, as well as Director Canfield and Starnes, are here to answer technical questions regarding these types of land uses and permitting and licensing.
Gotcha. So we're at the research stage of this item, right? It was brought to my attention by a landlord of a short-term rental that they were struggling with, I guess, the way the, say Airbnb rental is laid out. They're having trouble with folks that are not of drinking age renting these establishments, and then because of the rules set forth by Airbnb or VRBO, they're not able to, I guess, directly contact the sheriff's office. They're supposed to deal with this in-house, so to speak, and it creates problems. I am not extremely well versed in the rental language, but I am told that that's the way it's established. I know Douglas County has done the same thing. I'm going to try to reach out to the chair of the Douglas County Board, and I didn't get a straight answer as to why they went ahead and moved forward with this resolution. But apparently there are issues with the rental companies, and the owners are required to deal with these people directly. So if they have an underage drinker in their apartment, they can't just call the sheriff's office and have them take care of it. So that's why this was brought to the table. So if we do approve this, staff will look into the do's and don'ts, and if this is something that we want to entertain when they come back, if we want to entertain changing the rental age for that. And apparently it's up to the county commission to dictate that. And if we did pass it, then the landlords, so to speak, would be able to put that in their listing, and it frees them of whatever issues they're dealing with at this time.
So is there a reason for the 25-year-old, the 25 age? I mean, if it's a drinking issue, being 21, wouldn't that solve some of that problem? And second question of that, this is just for the Airbnbs. This wouldn't be for like the hotels and things like that.
Correct. This is for the Airbnbs. This wouldn't impact bed and breakfast, I don't believe.
Okay.
Just the Airbnbs, and particularly those who utilize VRBO. It may not be Airbnb specifically, but it's VRBO, I know, is one of them. So 25 was the age that was suggested when I was approached with this issue. So that's where the 25 came from. So, and I guess that they're comparing it to rental cars. You know, rental cars don't allow rental under 25 years old. So I think that, you know, by picking 25, I think the logic is that they'll eliminate a lot of the potential problems from younger renters. Vice Chairman, do you have any questions?
I have a couple. Do we currently allow vacation rentals or short-term rentals in all many zones, all zones, or are we somewhat limited where this is happening?
I think this is pretty much impacting Virginia City then.
Kathy Campbell for the record. So short-term rentals are allowed in the CR zoning. So that's Virginia City, downtown area, and Gold Hill, kind of the stretch along Main Street, Gold Hill. They can be permitted in the R1 district, which is Virginia City, where the R1's located, with a special use permit. So.
And we currently have no mechanism for allowing them in like estate zoning and
no
other residential areas?
No.
Okay.
So that's just the land, it's a specific land use that's listed.
Okay. Do we know anything about the company's ability to actually implement something like this? I mean, certainly a listing can include a limitation in the description, but do they have a mechanism in place that allows them to actually control this when they're facilitating a rental?
I was told that if they put, if it's not in county ordinance, if they put it in the listing gets removed. So if you feel better, I would actually feel better if we get the person in here that made this initial request. You know, I think that'll help answer some questions.
To explain the issue that they're facing in specific detail. I would be hesitant to drop a blanket restriction. I know we're not at that phase yet, but I mean, my understanding is we have a fair number of short-term rentals within the community, either active, semi-active, and so I would hate to change something without full participation of all of them. And I'm wondering if we're going to address, and I don't want to muddy the waters too much, but if we're going to address some sort of limitation around short-term rentals, I'm wondering if it's time for a broader conversation around limitations on the total number. I know there are concerns about mountain towns, resort towns that are kind of the housing stock or long-term rental stock being hollowed out. Right now, we don't have, as I understand it, we don't have any restrictions on the total number as long as you can qualify either in a CR zone as a permitted use or to receive a special use permit for that.
To just address one thing, when this was originally brought to my attention, I did ask for nothing formal, but I did ask that this person reach out to the other in the like situation, and allegedly they were all supportive of the idea. So, but I think, especially with the questions that have come up, I'd like to invite the person into the next commission meeting and help us understand much better what exactly we're looking to accomplish.
Yeah,
Are you guys
I
comfortable
agree
with
with
that?
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll put the invite out, and then if we just want to postpone this for.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I kind of, I have a little bit of some questions around 25, 21. I think if in a car rental situation, there's, they have the stats on risk and so on and so forth, and typically there's higher risk, and that's why they either outlaw it or require additional insurance. I don't know if it could be seen as arbitrary if we pick a number other than the legal drinking age or something that directly ties into the concern, with minors not being able to contact police for enforcement, whatever that is. And so getting a little more detail on that, I think, would be helpful.
Yeah.
I'm certainly open to, looking at ways to help solve a problem. Just want to make sure that we're looking at it from all the angles.
Yeah, and I think even before maybe staff ventures in, I think maybe we'll get hearing it directly from the landlord, I'll call it, might be better.
Agreed.
Is there any public comment at this time about this item?
I was going to
Yes.
actually make one other thing too to point out. One of the things we were looking at, like with our zoning code, this is a land use. So we don't typically get into like other details of the land use as far as like regulating how people act for a land use. So it might be something that if there's a concern about not having a police response, so that if we had something and we needed a police response, but it's a zoning code issue, I mean, that code enforcement element might be a concern, because Zoning code enforcement takes time. There's a process we follow with letters written, and you have your time and things like that, where if it's something that people are wanting some kind of immediate action, the zoning code enforcement officer is not going to be an immediate action on anything to stop anything immediately. I mean, it's going to be a Friday night. Our code enforcement officers don't typically work on the weekends or that type of thing. So one of the things, if that's what our board decides, that we want to go down this path of regulating or adding more regulations, we might want to look at the other portions of our code, and we can work with the DA's office on where other pieces this might fit in the code rather than that. Like for car rental things, those aren't in our code. I mean, it's kind of something that's known, but it's not our code to do that. So that would be something we'd probably be looking at to see what kind of portion of the code is the appropriate spot to put that to.
Yeah,
So,
and again, not to delve too deep, but my understanding is that without some sort of county code there, the websites will not allow these folks to put that restriction in place. So they need the county code in order to continue listing their properties on this specific platform.
to work with that company.
To work with that company.
Well, and, yeah, and I think while there's a zoning element to it, there's also a licensing element to it, which may be a lever that we can pull as far as some sort of restriction, even when it's a permitted or a permissible by right use. You still have to have a business license to operate, and so that may be another place where we could address it, or just in general code, a local law, if you will, that's independent from either of those. So, yeah, we may need to look at either an alternate or parallel ordinances, because we may need it we may want it reflected in the zoning so people have realistic expectations before they apply for a special use permit, for example, in the R zoning. But then the enforcement element may have to be somewhere else in our code.
Nice.
Todd Tuttle, Director of Tourism. Just as a few comments. One, as a tourist town, that we do reach out and attract those people that come to stay in Virginia City. When we talk about the possibility of weddings and honeymoons and things like that, we have a number of people that do come in that lower age range, as we're talking the legality to be able to be married in the state. So they do come here for that type of vacation, et cetera. The other part is of drinking age. When we target the university or some of the colleges around, particularly some of the events that go on up here, it's nice to be able to have a place for them to be able to stay rather than encourage them to head down the mountain. Also in that research, looking at what's happened in South Lake Tahoe as they kind of tried to find ways of controlling what went on with Airbnbs and VRBOs, and how that affected their tourism and response as it became, hey, they don't want us here, or do they want us here? How will this reflect on our outreach to the public to be able to come and stay? So just to be able to put that in the mix and make sure that we're compensating for some of those thoughts and actions along the way.
Yeah, my understanding is there's really only a few actual spots that would be impacted by this.
Right.
You know, it doesn't carry over to the Silverland or the Tahoe Wells.
Correct.
But what point's well taken.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
With a motion that is made, I'm kind of hearing multiple different things in this discussion. So I definitely hearing that you want this to be brought to the next meeting in February for discussion and potentially invite the person who brought this up initially. Is that correct?
I think the person who brought this up should be here in order to help this move further. If they're not willing to come up here and give us a better explanation of the process and why this is important, then I think it might be a dead issue. So I think them being here to help us decide on how we want to direct staff, I think is critical. And
then secondly, if we bring this up to the next future meeting, whether it's the next meeting or beyond, do you want this only to be relating to the 25-year-old, or do you want it to be a little bit more of a broad discussion about these types of uses? Like Director Canfield talked about, you know, could they be Airbnbs are allowed, but the host must be on the property, or should a number of them be restricted, or should we look at not having them? What she was trying to say is don't have them in Title 17, which has a whole different batch of requirements in zoning, put it over more into, you know, health and safety or another ordinance that just has direct drive from this board. Would you like a agenda item like that for future general direction of staff, just to be a little bit more broad? Or do
Yeah.
you want it to be specific to this?
I'm comfortable if it's a little bit more broad at this time. So for the new agenda item, I'd like to leave it pretty wide open. Again, I'd like to hear them explain this to the board. And then I think at that point we can maybe navigate. So
Okay.
I'd say broader is better at this time.
And then I can plant a seed, if I may, with that, regardless of what the board wants us to go left or right or in the middle or nothing at all on this. Always there is that open avenue for public workshops and to feel the community out and kind of see where they are, bring those findings back to the board, which is really what this direction would be anyway. And then this board could continue to take that information and those facts and make decisions. So be happy to do that if that's what you want.
That is good by me, assuming it's okay with the rest of you.
Absolutely, yeah, I would appreciate the broader conversation. I opened up a conversation around housing online just to kind of collect ideas from, and I think it relates, so.
Are you good with this as a motion?
Yeah, well, I guess the question is, the suggested motion was to ask staff to research. Do we want to just continue the item to our next meeting at this point?
Yeah,
And that way,
continue up with the
staff doesn't run, expend time on it.
Yep.
Okay. Great. So I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled board meeting, which would be in early February, the 3rd, or the 2nd?
I believe it's the 3rd.
Third.
Double check. It is the 3rd.
Great. February 3rd here at the courthouse.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. All right. On item number 27, discussion for possible action. Discussion and consider accepting dedication of the non-exclusive easement for use and maintenance of the Lockwood Community Corporation roads accessing Fire Station 74 and maintaining drainage erosion on a part of Perry Ranch Road. County Manager Osborne.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. If you remember, about 2021, we had approved an easement down at the Lockwood Community Corporation in Lockwood for the county to maintain and pave and enforce regulations on Perry Ranch Road that goes through the LCC Mobile Home Park. It's been a successful easement. Everybody's been happy since. In fact, Public Works has installed speed limit signs and radar signs showing speed, and the Sheriff's Office has been able to issue tickets and things for activity going on that road that currently couldn't happen because it's private property. This would be to do the same thing, just to expand the roads that go a little bit into the interior of the LCC, mainly those serving Fire Station 74, and then also a short stint of a bridge serving Fire Station 74 as far as just to keep pavement and maintenance and things like that of these roads. It takes the burden off the LCC for roads that really the county and heavy equipment for the fire station are using. I thank the DA's office for the review of this to make sure everything was done correctly. And then also this would provide for a small drainage improvement that's affecting Perry Ranch Road on that real narrow portion you drive right next to the senior center. I ask that we approve this. That would allow us to begin budgeting for those improvements in that area and start maintaining these roads.
All right, thank you, Austin. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, I'm good, thanks.
How about public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to approve acceptance of dedication of a non-exclusive easement for use and maintenance of Lockwood Community Corporation, or LCC, roads accessing Fire Station 74 and maintaining drainage erosion on a portion of Perry Ranch Road.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 28, this is discussion for possible action. Discuss and consider authorizing the county manager to sign and approve an amended contract between Story County and Lakota HRM LLC from July 1st, 25 through June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $95 an hour, July to November, and $150 an hour from December to June, not exceeding 600 hours total, on an as-needed basis for the purpose of providing prescribed human resources services, including labor relations, independent administrative investigations, union contract negotiations, and other related services. Austin?
All right, thank you. We're currently under contract with Lakota HRM Services. This is Jeannie Green. And due to the complexity and some of the things happening, I find it appropriate and recommend that we increase the contract hourly rate to be commensurate with other contracts that the county has, as well as the scope of work that is being performed. This isn't necessarily the volume of work. The volume of work isn't changing a whole lot, and because the volume of work is not that substantial, this really isn't not going to be a heavy impact to the HR office budget. I do recommend that we do this just for the complexity of the cases we're dealing with, and Jeannie Green has stepped up to the plate to get us through exactly what you see on here, helping with contract negotiations, helping with some of our specific labor cases that have a lot of complexities with the legalities, and working with our attorneys, and I find this to be totally appropriate. This is not at the request of Jeannie. This is my request to get this contract where it needs to be. This contract will end in July. And at that point, we'll handle what comes next or not. I will let you know that there are sufficient budgeted funds for this increase.
Thank you, Austin. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
So just to be clear, this would be retroactive to December 1st?
Yes, Austin Osborne for the record. So the first half of this year that's already done up to December 1st would be under the old rate, and then from December 1st all the way through the upcoming July would be at the new rate.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any public comment? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepared to make a motion?
Yeah, I, Commissioner Mitchell, move to authorize the county manager to sign and approve an amended contract between Story County and Lakota HRM LLC from 7/1/25 to 6/30/26 in an amount of $95 an hour from July through November and $150 an hour December through June, not exceeding 600 hours total on an as-needed basis for the purpose of providing prescribed human resources services, including labor relations, independent administrative investigations, union contract negotiations, and other related services.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Austin. Moving on to item number 29. This is discussion for possible action. Second reading, business license second readings A through L. Commissioner Gilman, do you have any questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman?
No, thanks.
Is there any public comment regarding these second readings? Not seeing any. Vice Chairman, you prepare to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the second reading of business licenses A through L.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. On to item number 30. This is the second and final time during this meeting where public comment is available. If you have public comment today, please come on up. Not seeing any, we're moving right along to item number 31. This is adjournment of all active and recessed boards on the agenda. It is 12:29 p.m. We will see you all in a couple weeks. This meeting is adjourned.